The House on Maple Lane. I had been dreaming about owning my own house for years. At 26, after months of saving and hunting through countless listings, I finally found a small, modern home in a quiet suburban neighborhood in Vermont. The price was good, the location even better. A calm street lined with trees and a small forest at the back of the house. I felt proud, independent, and ready for a fresh start. The first few days were exciting. Unpacking boxes, arranging furniture, and snapping endless pictures for social media made the new house feel like home. But there was a strange stillness at night that I couldn't shake off. The first night. The first night I slept in the house, everything seemed normal. The kind of normal you expect in a new home. I was tired from moving in and unpacking, so I slept deeply. Around 2 a.m., I woke to a faint creaking sound. My heart skipped a beat. It sounded like footsteps in the hallway. I froze, straining my ears. The house was quiet otherwise. I got up slowly, flashlight in hand, and checked every room. Nothing. I convinced myself it was just the floorboards settling, a common thing in newly built homes. But then it happened again the next night. Footsteps, closer this time. It wasn't random creaking. Someone, or something, was walking around my house. Doors that don't stay closed. A few days later, I noticed my bathroom door kept closing on its own. At first, I thought maybe I left it ajar or a draft caused it to swing shut. But then I noticed it happening with other doors too. The bedroom closet, the pantry, even the front door would sometimes click shut without anyone touching it. I tried to rationalize everything. Maybe the house was just old in ways I hadn't noticed. But the feeling of being watched grew stronger every night. The attic discovery. About a week in, I decided to clean out the attic. It was dusty and cramped, filled with old boxes left by the previous owner. While moving a stack of boxes, I discovered a small trap door hidden behind an old shelf. It was locked at first, but it gave way with some force. Inside, I found a dusty, leather-bound journal. The handwriting was neat, almost childlike. The journal belonged to someone named Lydia Harper, who lived in the house decades ago. The entries started innocently. Lydia wrote about her life, school, and family. But soon her tone shifted. She described shadows that moved in the corners of rooms, whispers calling her name at night, and a dark man who visited her room. The last few entries were frantic. "He says the house is hungry. I think he wants me. I can't hide anymore. I hear him breathing." The final page was torn, scratched as if someone tried to escape. Things escalate. After reading the journal, things in the house became more unsettling. Lights began flickering randomly, sometimes when I was alone in a room. On more than one occasion, I felt cold drafts brush against my skin. My phone would randomly die, only to turn back on with strange photos I didn't take. Shadowy figures in the corners of rooms, shapes that didn't exist when I looked. One night, while scrolling through my phone in bed, I felt a cold hand brush against my arm. I jolted awake. Nothing. The house was silent, but the feeling of being watched had never been stronger. The hidden basement. Determined to find the source of the disturbances, I went back to the attic one night. I wanted to inspect it properly. That's when I noticed something strange about the wall behind the shelves. A false wall, almost invisible in the dim light. I pushed it aside and found a narrow staircase leading down. A basement I didn't know existed. The air at the bottom was thick and smelt of mold and decay. Old candles lay scattered on the floor, some melted, others intact. Toys were strewn about, and deep scratch marks lined the walls. some appearing fresh. I froze when I heard it, a child's whisper, soft but clear. "You shouldn't be here." The shadows figures. Shadows began moving across the walls, not like reflections or tricks of light. They twisted unnaturally, figures hunched and faceless. One moved closer, a small figure, like a child, but with a completely black face. I panicked and ran up the stairs. The basement door slammed shut behind me. My heart pounded, my flashlight flickered, and every door in the house seemed locked or stuck. I was trapped. From the corner of my eye, I saw more shadows in the hallways, whispering my name over and over again. The journal's warning. I remembered the journal and tried to find more clues. Flipping through its pages again, I saw warnings Lydia had written. The house doesn't let go. It feeds. It waits for those who enter to stay. Don't let it see you alone. I realized that the house wasn't just haunted, it was alive, and it had been waiting for me. The last night, I decided to leave. I grabbed my keys, ran to the front door, but it wouldn't budge. Windows were stuck. Every attempt to escape failed. That's when I saw it, the shadowy figure of a child standing at the top of the stairs, pointing at me. A whisper, almost a hiss. "Next time, you won't leave." The shadows advanced. I ran blindly, stumbled over boxes and furniture, and somehow ended up back in my bedroom, shaken and crying. My phone was dead. I couldn't call anyone. By morning, I packed a bag and never returned. The house still stands on Maple Lane. Real estate listings say it's available. New families move in, but I know the truth. The house doesn't forget. It watches, waits, and it's hungry. And one day, it will claim the next resident, just like it almost claimed me.
I had always wanted a fresh start. After a messy divorce, I finally had enough saved to buy my first house on my own. It was a modern, two-story home tucked away in a quiet neighborhood in New Hampshire. On paper, it was perfect. Big windows, spacious kitchen, a backyard with a forest edge. I felt independent, alive, ready for a new chapter. The first day moving in was exhausting, but exciting. Unpacking boxes, arranging furniture, and imagining the life I'd have here made me forget about everything else. But as soon as night fell, I noticed something off. The first night. It was subtle at first. I woke to the feeling of cold air brushing my neck. The thermostat was set correctly. The house should have been warm. I shrugged it off as a draft. Then I heard it. Faint footsteps in the hallway. Slow, deliberate, moving from the living room toward my bedroom. I froze, listening. My house was empty. I checked every room. Nothing. I convinced myself it was my imagination, a combination of exhaustion and the silence of a new place. But over the next few nights, the noises got worse. Footsteps, whispers, and sometimes a faint laugh that didn't belong to me. Doors I had left open would be closed when I checked them. My bedroom closet, the pantry, even the kitchen cabinets, all would occasionally swing shut as if someone had just passed by. Strange discoveries. One afternoon, I decided to clean the laundry room. Behind the stacked washer and dryer, I noticed a faint outline of a door I hadn't seen before. Pulling it revealed a small hidden room, just big enough to stand in. The air inside was stale, smelling of mold and dust. The room was bare, except for a cracked mirror leaning against the wall, a small wooden chair, and a few forgotten items. A child's doll, a faded notebook, and some broken picture frames. I didn't recognize any of them. At first, I thought it was a storage closet the builders had forgotten to seal properly. But as days passed, I started noticing tiny changes. Objects would move slightly. The doll would face a different direction. Papers I had stacked neatly would be scattered. Whispers in the dark. It started slowly, faint whispers, just on the edge of hearing. At first, I couldn't make out the words, but soon I could hear my name. Emma. Emma. Calling me from empty rooms. One night, I decided to record the whispers on my phone. I left it running while I slept. When I played it back in the morning, I could hear it clearly. You shouldn't be here. I tried to tell myself it was stress, maybe paranoia, but I was alone in that house and nothing I saw could explain what I was hearing. The mirror's reflection. The mirror in the hidden room became the most unsettling part. At first, it just reflected the room normally. But one night, I saw something else. Fleeting shadows behind me. People I hadn't seen before. I spun around. Nothing. The reflection was empty, but the feeling didn't leave. Every time I looked in the mirror, there was movement that shouldn't have been there. Subtle shapes darting in the background. Escalation. Things escalated quickly after that. One evening, I was cooking in the kitchen when I heard the sound of glass breaking. I ran to the hidden room. The doll was on the floor, its head twisted unnaturally, and the mirror had cracks forming across the surface as if someone or something had slammed into it from the other side. That night, I slept in the living room. I couldn't handle the whispers, the shadows, the feeling of being watched. Around 2 a.m., I heard footsteps climbing the stairs. Slow, heavy, deliberate. Then a child's laugh, high-pitched and eerie. I grabbed a baseball bat ready to defend myself. I ran to the staircase, swinging blindly. Nothing. The house was silent again, except for a faint hissing voice behind me. Don't leave me. The confrontation. By the next week, I realized I had to face whatever was in the house. I set up a small camera in the hidden room, hoping to capture proof, something tangible. That night, I decided to spend hours in the hidden room, flashlight in hand, determined to understand what I was dealing with. Hours passed. Shadows flickered across the walls. Whispers grew louder. I could hear footsteps pacing around the room, circling me. Then the door slammed shut. My flashlight flickered and died. I was in complete darkness. I felt a cold presence beside me, breathing against my shoulder. I couldn't move. The cracked mirrors seemed to ripple, showing reflections of people I didn't recognize, staring at me, whispering my name. Panic overtook me. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. Something grabbed my wrist, icy, unrelenting. I ripped free and ran for the door. It was blocked. I was trapped. Morning came, faint light streaming through the windows. I somehow managed to force the hidden door open and stumble out. I packed a bag and left. I didn't stop the entire drive. When I returned days later to collect the last of my belongings, neighbors told me a chilling story. The previous family had vanished without a trace. No note, no explanation, just gone. I left the house permanently, but later, when I opened the boxes I had packed, I found a small note inside my belongings. The handwriting was unfamiliar. Mercy, welcome home. I never returned after that, and I never will. The house on Cedar Ridge isn't just a building. It's alive. It watches, it waits, and it hunts anyone who dares to live there alone.